Well, it is a boys trip weekend. I'm out with my son and my dog, and we just pulled into camp here. It's gonna be a beautiful weekend, but we are taking a canvas tent on its maiden voyage. This is a tent that I've had for a little bit at this point, and it's time to finally put it to use. It's the Whiteduck Rover Scout 8-foot by 9-foot tent. So let's get this thing set up. So now the question is, are canvas tents the old new thing? Because they're definitely not a new concept. In fact, canvas tents have been being used for decades, for a very, very, very long time. But obviously lighter weight, more packable options became more prevalent over time. But I think there is an idea of canvas tents are kind of coming back. In fact, driving through this campground, I saw a couple other canvas tents and I was like, there it is. That kind of proves my point. So I'm excited to put this together, and we're gonna do a setup and walkthrough of this and kind of what it's like to do as one person. Now, the thing to get out of the way with this is obviously they're heavy and they're bulky. This is like 50 pounds, 60 pounds. And for a footprint of 8 feet by 9 feet, it's a big space, but it takes up a lot of space in the car. So I don't want to dwell on that as like this big, huge, major con. Like, you should go into a canvas tent knowing that it is going to be bulkier and heavier than a lighter weight nylon version. Okay, so what I've done is laid the tent out and I've staked the four corners fairly tight. I'll adjust the tension of the stakes as necessary, and I have connected my two end poles that go to make the tent stand up. Now, these are a fixed length. They have a post in the top that goes into a hole here. And then we're just gonna lift the tent body up. Now, I've got these huge stakes that are awesome because they really will help make sure that this stands really good on its own. Give enough tension on these lines here. Okay, it's looking nice and tight across the top. Now what we got to do is stake out the walls so that the walls will stand on their own. So let's do that. Now, I'm not trying to go too tight with it yet because I want to have good symmetry on the tent. What do you think, Harry? Well, that is pretty slick. Now, there's clearly a lot of standing space in here. This is really cool. You've got this full back door as well. You are 8 feet by 9 feet, and I am 5'9", and this is easily over 6 feet, or at least 6 feet. So plenty of space through the center. And we're gonna get some cots put in here. We'll roll up this other side of the mesh because I think that's a really cool aspect of getting some nice airflow within the tent. But this is a cool space. I'm digging this. So down here along the bottom of the tent, you have a zipper that goes all the way around the bottom, and you've got some loops and toggles here. So what I'm able to do is unzip this all the way, and I can roll this up halfway and get the mesh exposed there, or I can roll it up all of the way Now I've got all of that open air and movement to the inside of the tent. That is neat. But to be able to do it like halfway and then all the way like this and still have this overhang right here that comes down, that's awesome. But then what you've also got is a stove jack that is pre-installed on the tent, and that'll roll back, and then you've got your stove jack for using this in the winter, which I think would be a ton of fun. Well, I gotta say, I am quite pleased with how this all came together. We are gonna be sleeping on a couple of cots tonight. It's nice to get up off of the ground. And then I've got the dog bed over here, plenty of space for all the bags and storage things, duffels for clothes, and then a little bit of storage over here. You could easily sleep 3 people across on cots and then still have some space here at the front, but then you could also run the other direction with sleeping, and again, probably do 4 people in that case. But for me and my son and the dog, this is a really, really comfortable space to be in. So I'm just looking forward to it. Okay, so day 2 with the Whiteduck Rover. This thing, initial impressions, is awesome. I love how much space there is inside. It feels so livable, and it's just a comfortable space, especially for the amount of people, me and my son, who's 4, and our dog. It just makes for a really, really enjoyable space. I like that there is so much ventilation with the tent. I can open up this door, roll this back, and then I have all of this huge mesh space right here to allow that air movement. Now, I do want to get into the specifics of the construction of the tent here, the materials that are used and all of that, but I do want to just focus on what the experience has been so far. And part of what's making this so positive for me is just the amount of space inside of the tent. And part of that is because it is a single walled tent. You don't have an inner mesh body and then a rain fly over top of that, but it's also just the shape and the design of it. Now, this is a pretty like traditional classic design of a tent that you would see from decades ago, like a long time ago. These are kind of like an outfitter style of design, and wall tents are really popular with people that are spending a lot of time maybe out hunting or just deep in with horses, and they want something that is going to maximize the opportunity to be comfortable. And this is absolutely emulating that experience. You've got these really tall vertical sidewalls, and it is just a nice rectangle through the whole thing. You don't have these like poles that are coming in that dome style of design that you see on a lot of family camping tents, which that's not a bad design. But when I'm comparing this to like my Nemo Aurora high-rise 6-person tent, this uses 2 vertical poles and then some really heavy-duty stakes to be able to set it up and create the tension for making it nice and strong. Now, I am impressed with how stable this tent is. Those stakes going so far into the ground give me a lot of confidence in, if a heavy wind comes through, how just burly this tent is. Like my Nemo tent, I freaking love that thing, but it's not going to be quite as stable as that. This is just staked out really nice and tight, and should be able to handle some pretty good storms. I am a little nervous about snow load on these big roof panels, and that just like kind of caving in and what that would look like, but you should be able to just knock the snow off, no problem. Again, you have a stove jack here, so using this in the winter, kind of in that outfitter hot tent style approach, maybe you're hunting, this would be a really comfortable base camp of a tent to take in that scenario. Okay, so I'm not in the best position here to really show the feature of this back kind of like porch and vestibule space that you got here, because there's a lot of things going on here. I'm a little skiwampus. You can see with the tension of the tent that it's not the best pitch of the tent. I will like admit to that. And I'm a little like off keel from this pine tree right here, making it so that I'm having to just, I don't know, I'm just a little scawampus. And so I'm not able to fully figure out the way that this all comes together, but I'll at least break it down. What you have is this carabiner that's on a slider that, from my understanding, is you have the option or the ability to kind of like create this open vestibule space to allow airflow into the tent, and maybe even with some extra tarp poles, I'd be able to string that out and again create a bit of a porch area with the tent, because unlike the other door, you have these other panels with a bunch of tiebacks, loops and toggles. So I can toggle that, and then it's rolled back, but it just provides some functionality and some versatility in being able to create additional airflow. But I do also have the option to roll this back all the way, and then I can get a full cross breeze. I'm struggling to talk today, man. And then I have that full open space, not to mention then also rolling up the sidewalls here. I have all of that mesh down there, and I just create this like basically a screen tent, a bug house for me to keep the bugs out, but have all of that airflow when I need to spend time in the tent during the day and not fry my brains out from being inside of a really, really hot tent. Just cool functionality. Now, just a few final things to mention about this Rover tent from Whiteduck. This is one of 3 sizes that are available. This is the middle option. There's a smaller one and then a larger option. And this is 8 foot by 9 foot. So it's a nice middle ground, a nice sweet spot for a small family, for a single hunter or 2 hunters to share a space, to put a stove in and still have enough room to move around and enjoy that time inside of the tent. The living space of this is truly just the main selling point of it for me. I look forward to spending more time with this tent. It is really, really cool. Now the price point comes in at $590 USD, at least at the time of filming this, for the 8 foot by 9 foot option. But the build quality of this is impressive. Now, there are some canvas tents that are made in the US, like Spring Bar, for example, just up the street from my house, essentially. This is an imported product that uses a canvas material. I've alluded to it being canvas, but they call it a Dynatech canvas. And I can't speak to a lot of experience with canvas materials as opposed to like Dyneema or nylons or polyesters, but it seems like a really like burly, high quality material that's gonna take a beating, it's gonna last a long time. Take care of it, make sure it's dry before you roll it up so it doesn't get all moldy and nasty. But I can't speak to rain and what that experience is like with it, because it hasn't rained on this trip. But I'm absolutely going to spend more time with this tent and enjoy just how nice it is to be out camping with it. We have had a really, really good time, and I look forward to night number 2 with the tent tonight. Just everything about it, it really stands out as quality. I think the price point is fair for metal hardware, for really good line right here, the nice big burly aluminum poles, the stakes, the just overall build of it is fantastic. I do also want to thank Whiteduck for sharing this with me several months ago. Like, it's been at least 9 months that I've had this tent and just now getting to use it. So I want to thank them for that, but I also want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel and being here. Let me know what you think about this. Are canvas tents the new old thing in camping? Let me know down in the comments. Hope you guys have a great day.